Be me. 28, marketing consultant. Living in a loft downtown with industrial pipes and fake plants. Decide to throw a big Father's Day brunch to reconnect with my dad. Haven't been super close lately. He's old school, ex-Navy, into woodworking and grilled meats. I'm not that. But I figured a nice restaurant, some good food, good vibes. Maybe we'd bridge the gap. Make a reservation at this upscale farm-to-table place. One of those spots where the napkins cost more than your rent in college. Invite my dad, my stepmom, and my little brother Max, who's 20. They all show up looking sharp. Dad even shaved, which he only does for weddings and funerals. I wear a flowy white dress, casual but curated. Hug everyone. Pretend like this isn't a make-or-break moment. Start light. Ask about his garden. He tells me the tomato plant finally bloomed. I smile, sip my mimosa, tell him I'm proud of him. He laughs and says, "Now if only my daughter could bloom too." We all laugh. I think we're vibing. Food comes. Eggs Benedict with shaved truffle for him. Some gluten-free paleo French toast monstrosity for me. Conversation turns to dating. Stepmom asks if I'm seeing anyone. I shrug, say, nothing serious. Dad says, probably better that way. Most guys are trash. I raise my glass and say, and yet I've still managed to meet plenty. They chuckle. Max laughs too, clearly uncomfortable. I don't know why I said what I said next. Maybe it was the second mimosa. Maybe it was the need to prove I wasn't some lonely cat lady. Maybe it was trauma response packaged as banter. Whatever the reason, I lean in, smile, and say, one guy last week actually broke the record. Everyone pauses. Forks hover midair. Dad says, what record? I smirk, swirl my drink, and say, cardio partner. He's number 43. Max nearly chokes on his water. Stepmom goes silent. Dad sets his knife down slowly, just looks at me, like he's trying to understand what he heard. I try to laugh it off. Say, what? You wanted honesty. He doesn't laugh. He doesn't say anything. Just stares at me for a full 10 seconds. Then folds his napkin, places it on the table, stands up. Reaches for his wallet, pays the bill in silence, and leaves. Stepmom follows a few steps behind. Max stays seated. He looks at me, not angry, just stunned. Says, that was a lot. Then gets up too. Leaves me alone with the check and a half-eaten plate of brunch. I sit there, replaying it, trying to figure out when the mood turned. Was it the number? Was it the way I said it? Was it the joke? Or was it the realization that I'm not who he thought I was? Go home. Try to shake it off. Tell myself he overreacted. Text my group chat. Apparently 43 is the magic number that makes a dad leave brunch LOL. Friends send laughing emojis, skulls. One says, his loss for not knowing a baddie. Feel validated. For like 5 seconds. Next day I get a text from my stepmom. Just says, you should give him space. Followed by a second message. He's heartbroken. I roll my eyes. Heartbroken over what? Me having a life? Me not being some virgin fantasy? 2 days later, I try calling. Goes to voicemail. Try Max. He answers. Tells me Dad hasn't said a word about it. Just went to the garage and started sanding wood like it was therapy. Asks me why I said that. I say, it was a joke. He says, it didn't sound like one. We don't talk much after that. Go to therapy. Tell my therapist about the brunch. She raises an eyebrow and says, 43? I say, I'm not ashamed. She doesn't say I should be. Just asks what I expected. I say, I expected him to understand I'm an adult. She says, what do you think he expected? I say, a daughter who didn't make sex a personality trait. She says nothing. Lets it hang. Like a truth I wasn't ready to say aloud. I keep talking. Say, my dad's the one with the issue. He wanted a daughter who was pure, not one who lived. Say, I prefer guys who don't judge. But my voice cracks on the word prefer. I don't cry, not in the room, but I go home and stare at a photo of me and Dad from when I was 12. We're at the beach. He's holding my hand while I look at the waves. I wonder if he'd still hold it now, or if that moment died at brunch. Next weekend, see a Father's Day photo on Max's Instagram. They went fishing. Caption, best man I know. No tag. No mention of me. I comment a heart emoji. It gets no likes, no reply. Sit with that. Scroll through old photos, birthday cards, road trips, the Christmas he built me a dollhouse from scratch. Back when I was his little girl. before I became a woman who made him leave brunch. Still not sorry, but somehow still grieving. Grieving a version of us that doesn't exist anymore. Grieving a bond that had conditions I didn't know were there. And maybe that's what hurts the most. Not the judgment, not the silence, but the realization that, to my father, love wasn't unconditional. It had a number. And I crossed it. Week passes. Still no word from Dad. Decide to drive over, unannounced. Bad idea, but I convince myself closure is needed. Pull up to his place. Same driveway, same porch swing. He's in the garage, staining wood, like always. Smell of sawdust hits before the guilt does. I walk up slow. He sees me, doesn't stop working. Just says, "Didn't expect you." I say, "I figured." Awkward silence. I step inside the garage, stand by the wall, out of the way. He keeps sanding, the hum of the machine louder than either of us. Finally, he switches it off, wipes his hands on a rag, says, "So?" I say, "I wanted to explain." He shrugs. "Nothing to explain. You said what you said." I feel myself getting defensive. Say, "You overreacted." He doesn't flinch, just says, "Maybe." Or maybe I realized I don't know who you are anymore. That one stings. Say, "I'm still me." He raises an eyebrow, says, "Are you?" Deep breath. Say, "So what, you wanted me to lie? Be someone I'm not?" He says no. "I just didn't think you'd brag about something like that." I snap. Say, "Why is it bragging when a woman owns her past?" He sighs. Says, "It's not the number, it's the tone, the way you said it, like it was something to laugh at, like nothing means anything." I go quiet. Never thought about it like that. Say, "You think I'm worthless because of it?" He looks me dead in the eyes. Says, "Number. But I think you think that's all you are." Like a slap. Say, "You're judging me." He says maybe, but not the way you think. Walks past me, grabs a water bottle, takes a sip, says, "You used to light up when you talked about your art. Now it's just boys and numbers." My throat tightens. Say, "I'm allowed to explore, I'm allowed to live." He nods, says, "Yeah," and I'm allowed to be disappointed. We stare at each other, neither of us flinching. Say, "I planned that brunch to reconnect, to fix things." He says, "Then why did you set it on fire?" Tears finally start forming. Say, "Because I thought being honest was enough." He walks back to the bench, starts sanding again, says, "Sometimes honesty needs timing, sometimes honesty needs respect." Say, "I didn't mean to disrespect you." He says, "Intentions don't erase impact." Says, "Imagine how I feel as a dad raising you from when you were a baby, only for you to let random men take away what's most intimate and special from you." Stand there a minute longer, no words left. He doesn't ask me to leave, but doesn't ask me to stay either. I walk out, sit in the car, call my therapist on the spot, tell her everything. Say, "I tried to fix it, but he's still cold." She says, "What if he's grieving the version of you he had in his head?" I say, "That version never existed." She says, "Exactly." Drive home. Think about every time I've led with my body, not my mind. Think about how many times I equated freedom with shock value. Post a story later. Black background, white text. It's okay to outgrow the narratives you built for protection. Get 47 replies. Mostly women. Some guys. One says, "This hit different." Another says, "Your dad's missing out." I heart all of them, but still feel hollow. Sit on my couch. His words setting in, especially when he said how he'd raised me from when I was a baby, only for me to hook up with random dudes. Why are men so emotional and sensitive about these things? It's not like they forced me. He makes it seem like that made it worse. Stare at the old Father's Day card on the fridge, the one I made in 4th grade, crayon letters, lopsided heart, best dad ever. Start feeling a bit guilty, wonder if he still has any of mine, or if they're buried under sawdust and silence. Text Max. "Do you think he hates me?" He replies, "No." But he doesn't understand you, and maybe he doesn't want to. Sit with that. Realize understanding isn't guaranteed. And maybe that's the lesson. Still not sure if I'm sorry, still not sure if I should be, but I'm learning to live with the echo of love that only had terms I didn't read.